Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, distinguished guests, esteemed delegates, and sanitation champions from around the world. A very warm welcome to Bangladesh and second day of first ever Toilet Conference 2025. I am Archie Rahman and I'll be your host for this event. So we will start from a youth session. And I would like to welcome Ms. Samia Anwar Rafa, Technical Officer, WaterAid Bangladesh, to moderate this session. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to Day 2 of Toilet Conference 2025. Today is a fresh start, and what better a way to start with the fresh perspectives from the young generation. I'm Samia Anwar Rafa. I will be moderating today's session. I work with WaterAid Bangladesh as a technical officer. I'm a youth too. I joined WaterAid as a young professional 3 years back, and then I've transitioned through different roles and currently working as the technical officer. As WaterAid's youth advocate, I also work with Water Women, a network that is working to empower young women and girls regarding water and climate change. We are trying to build the capacities of them so that they can become the next generation of young female leaders in this sector. So today, we have a very interesting set of panelists, and we have a chair. I'll be introducing them in the next segment of my presentation. But first, we need to know what is happening in the sanitation sector and how youth is becoming a part of it. We do talk about a lot of things. We talk about water. When we talk about youth engagement, the first thing that comes is climate change. We talk about youth and climate change. We talk about youth and water. But there are very little conversations around sanitation and youth engagement. So today's session is targeted towards that. I see there are a lot of people and there are a lot of seats that remain empty, and I hope by the end of this session we will have all of these seats full. Not everyone I look at today in this room is a youth, but everyone is young from their hearts, so we will take this session like that. So firstly, I'll move on to a short video that will describe the sanitation sector and how young people have been involved in some of the projects.
একটা শহর কেমন হবে ভাবতে যদি পারো, দেখবে তখন কত কিছু আসছে মনে আরো। শহরটাতে থাকবে মানুষ, দালান কোঠা রবে, রাস্তা দিয়ে চলবে গাড়ি, দারুণ মজা হবে। শহর জুড়ে গাছগাছালি, সবুজ ছবির মতো, থাকবে নদী, থাকবে পুকুর, বলবো বলো কত। শহরটাতে মানুষ যত, থাকুক তারা সুখে, সুরক্ষিত থাকুক সবাই, মরবে না অসুখে।
The winner is team from Bangladesh.
চিন্তায় রাতে ঘুমই হয়নি। আজকের দিনটার জন্য কত দিনের অপেক্ষা আমাদের। তবে কলেজে যাওয়ার পরই হয় অপেক্ষার অবসান।
গ্লোবাল সাস্টেনেবল আইডিয়া হ্যাকাথন প্রতিযোগিতায় নির্বাচিত হয়েছো তোমরা। শুধু তাই না, তোমাদের পরিকল্পনা বাস্তবায়নের জন্য একটি অনুদানও পেয়েছো। তাই আর দেরি না করে কাজে লেগে পড়ো।
তুমুল উৎসাহে আমরা নেমে পড়ি নতুন স্বেচ্ছাসেবী দল গঠনে, আর তারপর সবাইকে নিয়ে বসি পুরো কাজের পরিকল্পনা করতে। তোমরা অনেকেই হয়তো জানো না যে 2015 সাল থেকে শুরু হওয়া এসডিজি বা টেকসই উন্নয়ন লক্ষ্যমাত্রার অন্যতম লক্ষ্য হলো নিরাপদ পানি ও স্যানিটেশন নিশ্চিত করা। তাই আমরাও চাইছি আমাদের শহরকে নিরাপদ করে তুলতে একটি টেকসই স্যানিটেশন পরিকল্পনা বাস্তবায়ন করতে।
কিন্তু এইসব কাজ তো পৌরসভা কর্তৃপক্ষের, আমরা কিভাবে করব?
কিছুদিন আগে আমিও এভাবেই ভাবতাম, তবে এখন বুঝতে পেরেছি যে সমাজের যে কোনো সমস্যা সমাধানে এগিয়ে আসা আমাদের প্রত্যেকেরই দায়িত্ব, এবং এক্ষেত্রে স্যানিটেশন সমস্যা মোকাবেলায় সিওয়াইএস হতে পারে আমাদের অন্যতম হাতিয়ার।
সিওয়াইএস কি?
সিওয়াইএস বলতে সিটি ওয়াইড ইনক্লুসিভ স্যানিটেশন বা শহরব্যাপী অন্তর্ভুক্তিমূলক স্যানিটেশনকে বোঝানো হয়। এটি একটি শহরের সকল শ্রেণী পেশার মানুষকে একসাথে নিয়ে টেকসই স্যানিটেশন পরিকল্পনা বাস্তবায়নের একটি পদ্ধতি। এই পদ্ধতিটি দায়িত্বশীলতা, সম্পদ ব্যবস্থাপনা ও জবাবদিহিতা, এই তিনটি ফাংশনকে শক্তিশালী করার মাধ্যমে নিরাপদ, ন্যায্য এবং টেকসই ফলাফল নিশ্চিত করে।
তাহলে আগে দায়িত্বশীলতা নিশ্চিত করতে কাজ শুরু করি।
পরিকল্পনা অনুযায়ী আমরা পুরো কমিউনিটিতে ছড়িয়ে পড়ি, বাড়ি বাড়ি গিয়ে অনিরাপদ স্যানিটেশনের ক্ষতিকর প্রভাব সম্পর্কে জানাই এবং মানুষকে উদ্বুদ্ধ করি যেন এলাকার স্যানিটেশন সমস্যা সমাধানে সকলে নিজ নিজ দায়িত্বে এগিয়ে আসে। দায়িত্বশীল আচরণের প্রথম পদক্ষেপ হিসেবে সবাই অঙ্গীকারনামায় স্বাক্ষর করে যে তারা তাদের পয়ঃবর্জ্য খোলা জায়গা বা জলাশয়ে ফেলবে না। সাথে তারা কিছু দাবির কথাও জানায়। সবার দাবির তালিকা এবং অঙ্গীকারনামা নিয়ে আমার দল এবং কমিউনিটি প্রতিনিধিগণের সমন্বয়ে পৌর মেয়রের সাথে আলোচনায় বসি।
শহরের স্যানিটেশন ব্যবস্থা পরিবর্তনে তোমাদের মতো তরুণরা যে এত দারুণ একটা উদ্যোগে সংযুক্ত হয়েছে তাতে আমি খুবই গর্বিত।
স্যার, আমরা জানি যে 2009 সালে প্রণীত স্থানীয় সরকার আইন অনুসারে খোলা জায়গা বা জলাশয়ে পয়ঃবর্জ্য ফেলা দণ্ডনীয় অপরাধ, কিন্তু তা নিশ্চিত করতে যে পরিমাণ টাকার প্রয়োজন তা আমাদের পৌরসভার নেই। যেমন প্রত্যেকটা বাড়ির সাথে সুয়ারের সংযোগ দিতে হবে, পরিশোধনাগার সংস্কার করে তার সাথে যুক্ত করতে হবে, আরও কত কি।
আপনি ঠিক বলেছেন, তবে সিওয়াইএস পদ্ধতি অনুসরণ করলে এইসব সমস্যা কাটিয়ে ওঠা সম্ভব।
তাই কিভাবে?
সবার জন্য স্যানিটেশন দেখতে যদি চাও, একটা শহর কেমন হবে এবার বুঝে নাও। দায়িত্বটা কার কি হবে জানতে হবে আগে। সুশাসন আর সদাচারের ইচ্ছে তবেই জাগে। একটা শহর ঠিক এভাবেই এগিয়ে যেতে পারে, সবার জন্য স্যানিটেশন দীপ্ত অঙ্গীকারে।
প্রতিযোগিতায় নির্বাচিত হয়ে সিওয়াইএস এর প্রথম ধাপ দায়িত্বশীলতা নিশ্চিত করতে পুরোদমে শুরু হয়ে যায় আমাদের কর্মযজ্ঞ। কমিউনিটির সবাইকে অনিরাপদ স্যানিটেশনের ঝুঁকি সম্পর্কে বোঝানোর পর সকলেই নিরাপদ স্যানিটেশন নিশ্চিতে অঙ্গীকারবদ্ধ হয়। মেয়র মহোদয়ও আমাদেরকে সহযোগিতা করতে রাজি হন, কিন্তু সমস্যা বাধে অর্থ সংকুলন নিয়ে।
এত টাকার ব্যবস্থা হবে কিভাবে?
জাতীয় কর্মপরিকল্পনার ভিত্তিতে সম্পদ পরিকল্পনা ও ব্যবস্থাপনার মাধ্যমে। ইতিমধ্যে পৌরসভায় বিদ্যমান সম্পদের সঠিক ব্যবহার ও এই খাতের জন্য পৃথক বাজেট পরিকল্পনার মধ্য দিয়েই এই কার্যক্রম শুরু করতে পারি। পাশাপাশি একটি সঠিক পরিকল্পনা আমাদেরকে সঠিক প্রকল্প পাওয়ার সম্ভাবনা বাড়িয়ে দেবে।
আমরা এনজিও থেকে একটা ভ্যাকিউ ট্যাগ পেয়েছিলাম, কিন্তু সঠিক প্রশিক্ষণের অভাবে তা ব্যবহারের অনুপযোগী হয়ে গিয়েছে।
তাহলে এই ভ্যাকুট্যাগটি মেরামত করে প্রাথমিকভাবে শহরের পয়ঃবর্জ্য নিরাপদে সংগ্রহ করতে পারি। তার আগে প্রত্যেকটা বাড়িতে সেপটিক ট্যাঙ্কের উপস্থিতি এবং সোকপিটের সাথে সংযোগ নিশ্চিত করতে হবে। অর্থনৈতিকভাবে পিছিয়ে থাকা জনগোষ্ঠীর জন্য পৌরসভা ক্ষুদ্র ঋণের ব্যবস্থা করতে পারে। পৌরসভা সংশ্লিষ্ট মন্ত্রণালয় থেকে রাজস্ব বাজেট বরাদ্দের অনুমোদন গ্রহণ করবে এবং ট্যাক্স থেকে প্রাপ্ত আয়ের একটি অংশ আলাদাভাবে স্যানিটেশন সেবা খাতে বরাদ্দ করবে। পৌরসভা স্যানিটেশন পরিষেবাগুলির জন্য ফি নির্ধারণ, পরিচালনা ও পর্যবেক্ষণ করবে।
এভাবে সম্পদ ব্যবস্থাপনা পরিকল্পনার মাধ্যমে কিন্তু আমরা সম্পূর্ণ স্যানিটেশন ভ্যালু চেইনের প্রতিটি ধাপ, পয়ঃবর্জ্য জমাকরণ, খালিকরণ, পরিবহন, পরিশোধন ও খালাসকরণ নিশ্চিত করতে পারবো।
আরে দেখো হাগু পাটতি, এডি কইরা কিছুই হইব না। দেখতাছি না এতদিন ধরে কেডাই করবে এসবের জবাব দিহি।
শহর হবে পরিচ্ছন্ন, যেদিক পানে চাও, সঠিক বর্জ্য ব্যবস্থাপনায় দৃষ্টি যদি দাও। সবাই হবে দায়িত্বশীল, যুদ্ধে নাহি হারে। একটা শহর ঠিক এভাবেই বদলে যেতে পারে। মেয়র মহোদয়ের সহযোগিতায় আমরা সফলতার সাথেই পৌরসভার জন্য একটি সম্পদ ব্যবস্থাপনা পরিকল্পনা তৈরি করি, কিন্তু আমরা কিছু কিছু জায়গা থেকে নেতিবাচক মন্তব্য পেতে শুরু করি।
দেখতাছি না এতদিন ধরে কেডাই করবে এসবের জবাব দিহি।
চাচা, জবাবদিহিতা নিশ্চিতের কার্যক্রম কিন্তু ইতিমধ্যেই শুরু হয়ে গিয়েছে। মেয়র মহোদয়ের সহযোগিতায় সঠিক জবাবদিহিতা নিশ্চিতে স্বাস্থ্য, পানি এবং স্যানিটেশন বিষয়ক একটি স্থায়ী কমিটি গঠন করা হয়েছে। এখন পাড়ায় পাড়ায় কনসারভেন্সি ইন্সপেক্টর এলাকার নিরাপদ স্যানিটেশন নিশ্চিতে এবং পরিবেশ দূষণ রোধে নিয়মিত পরিদর্শন করছে। এলাকার মানুষ সেপটিক ট্যাঙ্ক খালিকরণ সেবার জন্য পৌরসভায় কল করে জানাচ্ছে।
পৌরসভার সুবিধার জন্য একটি ডিজিটাল সিস্টেম তৈরি করা হচ্ছে। এই সিস্টেমের মাধ্যমে পৌরসভা স্বয়ংক্রিয়ভাবে ট্র্যাক করতে পারবে কোন সেপটিক ট্যাঙ্ক কখন খালি করতে হবে এবং নির্ধারিত সময়সূচি অনুযায়ী সেপটিক ট্যাঙ্ক খালি করবে। সিস্টেমটি এমন অনেক ধরনের পরিকল্পনায় সাহায্য করবে।
আমাদের নব আসা দল সিস্টেমটি তৈরি করতে পৌরসভার সাথে কাজ করছে এবং প্রতিযোগিতার পুরস্কার স্বরূপ যে অনুদান পেয়েছি তা দিয়েই সিস্টেমটি তৈরি করা হবে।
তোমরা আমাকে ভুল প্রমাণ করছো। জবাবদিহিতা নিশ্চিত করতে তোমরা যে পদক্ষেপ নিছো তার প্রশংসা করতেই হয়। আমরাও তোমাদের এই কার্যক্রমে সাহায্য করব। আমি আজকে আমার বাড়ির সেপটিক ট্যাঙ্কের সংযোগ ঠিক আছে কিনা তা দেখব।
এলাকার স্যানিটেশন সমস্যা সমাধানের পাশাপাশি সবচেয়ে বড় পরিবর্তন এসেছে সকলের দৃষ্টিভঙ্গিতে। এখন কমিউনিটির যে কোনো সমস্যা সবাই নিজ উদ্যোগে সমাধানের চেষ্টা করে এবং সংশ্লিষ্ট কর্তৃপক্ষকে সহায়তা করে এবং এই কাজে এলাকার তরুণ প্রজন্মের অংশগ্রহণও চোখে পড়ার মতো। আমাদের পৌরসভা জবাবদিহিতা, দায়িত্বশীল আচরণ এবং বিদ্যমান সম্পদ ব্যবস্থাপনার মাধ্যমে নিরাপদ, ন্যায্য এবং টেকসই স্যানিটেশন ব্যবস্থা নিশ্চিত করতে আপ্রাণ চেষ্টা চালিয়ে যাচ্ছে। পৌরসভার এই যাত্রার অংশীদার আমরা প্রতিটি এলাকাবাসীও। একটা শহর কেমন হবে রেখো সবাই মনে, দায়িত্বশীল জবাবদিহি বুঝবে জনগণে, খাওয়ার পানি হোক নিরাপদ সবাই যেন পায়, সবার জন্য স্যানিটেশন সেটাও সবার চাই, খোলা স্থানে মলত্যাগ নয় রাখতে হবে মনে, ল্যাট্রিনটা হাইজেনিক চাই শহর অঙ্গনে, শহর জুড়ে গরিব যত রাখতে হবে খোঁজ, অনলাইনে তথ্য রবে দেখুক লোকে রোজ, দায়িত্বশীল মেয়র থাকুক প্রতিটি শহরে, শহরব্যাপী স্যানিটেশন সবার ঘরে ঘরে, সম্পদের ন্যায্যতা থাকুক যার যা প্রাপ্য আছে, টেকসই উন্নয়নের ধারায় থাকুক সবাই কাছে।
Thank you. This video has made my work very easy to set the context of the sanitation situation as well as how in municipalities young people, even after being called as the poop party, have transformed the views and perspectives of people and raised their awareness on sanitation issues. Now as we move on with the session, I would like to request, or I would like to make an announcement that we do have interpretation available both in Bangla and English language. The session, parts of it will be conducted in English and parts of it will be conducted in Bangla. So if anyone needs the interpretation services or devices, they are available at the end of the hall. Our volunteers will help you out with that. Now, do you know how many participants have registered for this conference? Does anyone have any idea? No. Can you guess what percentage of those participants are young people between the age of 18 to 35? Yes, it's 40%. So 40% of the people who have registered for this conference are young people. And we are very happy to see that young people are taking interest in sanitation and joining conferences like this. In Bangladesh, the young people or the youth population is 19.11%, and it won't be possible to make any change without them. Now, because I know that there are a lot of people in this room, not everyone is between the age group I've mentioned, but I would like you to take a minute to scan this code and access the Mentimeter quiz. We have a few questions to understand the room and for our panelists to address you better based on your preferences or your insights. Okay, now we see the results. We have a lot of representation from different organizations. Thank you so much for coming early in the morning and joining the Youth Forum. And let's see how many people are directly working with the sanitation sector. I apologize for this technical error. I'm so sorry. Okay. I think we can move on and we can go to our next panel discussion. And we have a very interesting set of panelists, and I would like to call them on stage. But first, let me call up on stage we need to change the slides to our background panel. Okay, now let me call up on stage our very interesting and very amazing set of panelists. First of all, I would like to call Ms. Raisa Binte Huda, Associate Officer, Research and Knowledge Management, WaterAid Bangladesh on stage. Next, we have Ms. Melina Khanal, Environmental Officer, Anushandhani Creeds Limited. Up next, can I call up on stage Ms. Dina Afsana, Co-founder and COO, Vertical Innovations Limited. And lastly, Mr. Zarif Oeishik, Project Officer, WaterAid Bangladesh. Please come up on stage and take your seats. Okay. And now I would like to call up on stage today's session chair, Ms. Nayoka Martínez Bäckström, First Secretary, Environment and Climate, and Deputy Head of Corporation at the Embassy of Sweden in Dhaka. Her main focus is to facilitate and implement partnerships, cooperation, and capacity building among actors and institutions working with environment and climate issues. Nayoka has been an inspiration to young people and has actively worked with a lot of young and youth groups to inspire them for working in water and climate sector. She has been a development professional throughout her career, working mainly in Asia and Africa. I would like to thank Nayoka for agreeing to be the session chair for today's session. So I'll be moderating today's session. Thank you so much, everyone. We will move on to the next session, but before that, you all have seen the video where we have described how in municipalities, young or youth groups have made change. Now, before we move on to our panelists, I would like to invite our youth volunteers working in different municipalities who are here with us, if they would like to share some of their insights or some of their championing stories that they have had from their municipalities. আমাদের সাথে পৌরসভা থেকে আমাদের যে ইউথ ভলান্টিয়ার আপুরা আছেন বা ভাইয়ারা আছেন, আপনাদের মধ্যে থেকে কেউ যদি আপনাদের পৌরসভার কাজ সম্পর্কে আমাদেরকে জানাতে চান, আপনাদের গল্পগুলো বলতে চান, প্লিজ হাত তুলুন এবং মাইক আপনাদের কাছে পৌঁছে যাবে। আপু, আপনার নামটা বলে আপনি কোন পৌরসভা থেকে এসেছেন পরিচয়টা দিবেন।
Good morning, Assalamu alaikum. I am Jannati Firdaus. I come from Lalmihat Shodor. I working with SKS Foundation as a youth volunteer in our Lalmihat municipality.
Can you please tell us what you have been doing in Lalmonirhat municipality as a youth volunteer?
Okay. আমি একজন ইউথ ভলান্টিয়ার হিসেবে কাজ করেছি। আমাদের যে টয়লেটগুলো আসলে আমাদের যেহেতু ওটা ঘনবসতি পৌরসভাগুলো, ইতিমধ্যে আমরা দেখতে পেরেছি যে প্রায় বাসারই যে টয়লেটের সংযোগটা ড্রেনের সঙ্গে দেয়া হচ্ছে। কি হচ্ছে, এই সংযোগটাই পরবর্তীতে এই মলটা আমাদের খোলা জায়গায় গিয়ে পড়তেছে। এর কারণে যখন হচ্ছে বর্ষাকালে দেখা যাচ্ছে জলাবদ্ধতা তৈরি হয় পৌরসভার ওয়ার্ডগুলোতে, এলাকাগুলোতে, তখন আমরা যে বাসা বাড়িতে মানুষগুলো থাকি, আমাদের বিভিন্ন এই পানিগুলোই ইয়া করে আর কি জীবাণুর মধ্যে জড়িয়ে যেতে হয় আমাদের। আমরা ইতিমধ্যে এলাকায় বিভিন্ন উঠান বৈঠক করেছি, মানুষকে বোঝাতে চেষ্টা করেছি যে আমরা হচ্ছে আমাদের গুটাই কোনো না কোনো ক্রমে আমরা খেয়ে নিচ্ছি, কোন মশা হোক মাছ হোক, কিন্তু আমাদের গু আমরা খাচ্ছি। তারপর হচ্ছে গিয়ে যে আমাদের এলাকাগুলো বিভিন্ন রকম ডাস্টবিন যে ময়লাগুলো আছে, সেই ময়লাগুলো দেখা যাচ্ছে পরিষ্কার করে 6 মাস অন্তর অন্তর। এলাকায় একটা দুর্গন্ধ, তারপর মশা মাছির প্রলেপ, যার কারণে বিভিন্ন রকম দেখা যাচ্ছে আমরা রোগের সম্মুখীন হচ্ছি। এই বিষয়ে আমরা তাদের অবগত করেছি, তাদেরকে আমরা আহ্বান জানিয়েছি যে আমরা যদি সুস্থ থাকি, নিজে সুস্থ থাকতে হলে অবশ্যই আমার পরিবারকে সুস্থ রাখতে হবে, আমার সমাজকে সুস্থ রাখতে হবে, তাহলেই আমার দেশ সুস্থ থাকবে।
ধন্যবাদ আপু এত সুন্দর করে বলার জন্য। আমরা কি আরেকজন ইউথ ভলান্টিয়ারের কাছ থেকে শুনতে পারি কিনা?
উপস্থিত সকলকে আসসালামু আলাইকুম, আদাব। আমি লাবণী আক্তার বন্যা, এসেছি সৈয়দপুর নীলফামারী থেকে। আমি এসকেএস ফাউন্ডেশন থেকে অ্যাজ এ ভলান্টিয়ার হিসেবে আছি। আর আমার পড়াশোনা হচ্ছে, আমি একজন স্টুডেন্ট। তো আমাদের যে কাজটা, মূলত আমাদের কাজটা হচ্ছে আমরা কমিউনিটি পর্যায়ে কাজ করি, মানুষকে সচেতনতামূলক কথা বলি, তাদেরকে বিভিন্ন বিষয়ে পরামর্শ দেই। তাদের মধ্যে দুইটা বিষয় হচ্ছে পয়বর্জ্য যেখানে সেখানে না ফেলা, আর হচ্ছে সেপটিক ট্যাঙ্ক সহজবদ্ধভাবে ব্যবহার করা। তো যেখানে সেখানে ময়লা আবর্জনা যদি ফেলা হয় তাহলে পরিবেশের খুবই খুবই বাজে একটা ক্ষতিকর একটা এনভায়রনমেন্ট তৈরি হবে। আর যেটা সলিড ওয়েস্ট আমাদের হচ্ছে বাসাবাড়ির টয়লেট লাইন, অবৈধ লাইন, ড্রেনের মাধ্যমে যদি আমরা এখানে ছড়াই দেই তাহলে এই পানিগুলো চলে যাচ্ছে সরাসরি মনে করেন নদী নালাতে। সেই নদী নালাতে ছোট ছোট মাছ থেকে শুরু করে হাঁস মুরগি গরু ছাগল সব কিন্তু ওখানে যায়। এভাবে পানিটা পান করার ফলে তারাও অসুস্থ হচ্ছে এবং সমাজকে একটা হুমকির মুখে ফেলাচ্ছে। আমরাও হচ্ছে এর মধ্যে একটা ক্ষতিকর পরিবেশের মধ্যে এখানে থাকতেছি। এভাবেই আমাদেরকে মানুষকে উদ্বুদ্ধ করা যে যেখানে সেখানে ময়লা আবর্জনা না ফেলে একটা নির্দিষ্ট এলাকায় যেন ফেলা হয়, তাহলে সেটা ভেকুটেকের মাধ্যমে বা ভ্যান গাড়ির মাধ্যমে সেই পয়বর্জ্যটা নিয়ে আমাদের হচ্ছে গিয়ে ট্রিটমেন্ট প্লান্ট আছে, ওখানে ওগুলো প্রক্রিয়াজাত করার মাধ্যমে সার তৈরি করা হয়। আর আমাদের বাসাবাড়িতে যে আমাদেরকে সেপটিক ট্যাঙ্ক ব্যবহার করতে হবে, এটা অবৈধ ড্রেন যেন না ইউজ করে সেপটিক ট্যাঙ্কের মাধ্যমে আমাদের ভেগুটেক চার্জের মাধ্যমে ওটা সংরক্ষণ করে আমাদের যে কঠিন বজ্র এবং পানি থাকে সেটা ম্যানেজ করে ওটাকে আবার প্রক্রিয়াজাত করে সার তৈরি করা হয়। তো এভাবে। ধন্যবাদ।
ধন্যবাদ আপু, ধন্যবাদ আপনাদের দুইজনকে। আপনাদের এই প্রচেষ্টার মাধ্যমে ইউথ ভলেন্টিয়ার হিসেবে আপনাদের কমিউনিটিতে আপনারা পরিবর্তন আনার চেষ্টা চালিয়ে যাচ্ছেন এবং আশা করছি আপনারা সবাই এটা চালিয়ে যাবেন। এবার আমরা চলে যাচ্ছি আমাদের প্যানেলিস্টদের কাছে। আমি প্যানেল ডিসকাশনের প্রথমে আমি প্রশ্ন শুরু করব আমার কলিগ রাইসা বিনতে হুদাকে দিয়ে, যিনি জিওগ্রাফি just changing my language to English. I'm starting with my colleague Ms. Raisa Binte Huda, who has completed her graduation in Geography and Environment, and she has been a part of an interesting youth engagement initiative called Jolkona, where she has championed ideas on water and sanitation. So, what are your personal experiences and observations, Raisa, that has led you to pursue a career in sanitation-related researches? Because you could do anything else as a researcher. Why did you come to this wash sector and specifically started researching on sanitation-related projects?
Okay, thank you, Rafa. So basically, I think as a researcher, we always want to do work that has a massive impact. But how we define impact varies. To me, it has always been about changing or making better something that affects our lives on a daily basis. And when I thought about it, when I looked into it, the toilet sector, or how we preserve our dignity when defecating or urinating, is something that we do not want to talk about, but it is also something that affects us on a daily basis. And I think that is why, in one way or another, I have been attracted to this sector.
Thank you, Raisa. I have a few more questions for you, but now I would like to take the mic to Ms. Melina and ask her the next question. Ms. Melina is the Environmental Wash Officer with Onushandhani Creates, a youth-led consulting company in Bangladesh, and she has over 5 years of experiences in working in different countries, and she has a background in environmental science. So, Ms. Melina, youth engagement in sanitation remains low compared to other environmental issues. How can we make sanitation a more attractive and urgent cause for young professionals and activists?
Okay, thank you, and good morning to everyone. Namaste. While we are talking about the sanitation sector and the youth engagement in those sector, being as an environmental background, me and lots of the engineers and the other relevant backgrounds person are especially working in the waste sector, but the percentage and the ratio is the very few in here. According to my view and the few years experience which I gathered in the waste sector, I feel like the people are thinking about the sanitation is only the infrastructure. And after the infrastructure, the sanitation problem, and it will be the solved. People are thinking about those part rather than the other innovative and the technological solution. That is the major challenges we are facing right now. Sanitation is not only about the infrastructure and the overall things. We have to go for some sustainable and the innovative solution, which is gap in here. And while we are pursuing our degree or our professional, our educational background, and we also feel like that there is no any scope, we cannot get any scholar, we cannot get any opportunity to engage, to make our own future, to establish ourselves in a waste sector. That's our making a huge gap in here. We have a narrative thought in the waste sector that's making the very complicated, and it's creating lots of the challenges for the youth to enter in a waste sector. After entering in a waste sector, to sustain in a waste sector. That is the major challenges in here.
Thank you so much, Ms. Melina. Now I would like to ask my next question to Mr. Zarif Oeishik, who also started his career as a young professional with WaterAid Bangladesh. He currently works with a project which focuses on water and waste management, and his background is in urban planning. So Zarif, what do you think as an urban planner should be a good approach for youth to address sanitation-related challenges in urban areas, and how youth can get involved in urban problem-solving issues in terms of sanitation?
Thank you so much, Rafa, for the introduction. So the video you have showed not only made your life easier, but also mine, because that video is the answer to your question. But if I am to elaborate the answer a little bit, so it truly depends on the context of the urban area. If the urban area is climate-induced, then we have to follow a separate solution, and if the urban area is planned enough, we can go for another solution. So let me chalk it down to a narrower vision. So in Bangladesh, let me talk about in the context of Bangladesh. Due to climate change and migration, the urban areas are growing and the populations are growing at an unprecedented rate. So as a result, there are some urban fringe, meaning the area that's between the urban and rural areas. In that area, the planning is not that prominent. So particularly, we need decentralized sanitation system in that area, so that if it's not connected in the central sewer network, it would be emptied through WaterAid, and we have to give a containment system like septic tank. So to solve the unplanned areas of urban area, I think we need to follow the decentralized sanitation system.
Thank you, Zarif. That's an interesting perspective of decentralized systems to incorporate the solutions. Now I'll move on and ask my next question to Ms. Dina Afsana, co-founder and COO of Vertical Innovations Limited. You have switched your career and you have started a very interesting journey with Vertical Innovations as the co-founder, and you could do anything after your graduation, but you chose to work with Vertical Innovations or co-found Vertical Innovations, and MHM entrepreneurship that has taken you a long way. So how did you decide on this at your early age, and how can you say a few words to people who are also interested to start their journey in the sector or the sanitation entrepreneurship sector?
Thank you, Rafa, first of all. Good morning to everyone. Yes, that's a point. I can do anything, but there should be something which should impact so vastly. As an STEM guy, actually, I had a plan to go abroad and research and pursue my PhD, etc., whatever. But somehow I have a deeply concern about this MHM from the very first, because whenever I grew up, I saw lots of things in first hand, how these females are, I mean in these arenas in Bangladesh or these subcontinental females are facing every day to maintain their basic rights. Like we do have some human rights, and for the female to get my excess of my MHM products, and that should be my human rights also, but there is nothing which could break this barrier. And I think as an STEM guy that this needed a solution, digital solution, and as the world is growing up, so I came up with a technology which could, I think, help with this MHM platform. And if I think if there is something which, like a basic product like sanitary napkin, could afford some absenteeism from the schools girls or productivity for a women, so why not I invest my time and effort? I think this is a worthy something to invest my time and effort. That's why I came here in this platform to come, and that's not earlier. I think that I should come very first before then that to work in this platform. So that was my motivation actually.
Thank you so much, Dinapu. When we talk about toilets, we cannot leave out MHM out of it, because when women and girls don't have access to proper toilets, they do not have access to proper MHM facilities as well. So at this toilet conference, we also address that. Now I would like to pass the mic to Ms. Melina again for the next question. So you have had the experience of working in different countries, including Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh. What are some pressing sanitation issues that you have witnessed over there, and how do you think they can be approached involving youth to solve those challenges?
Okay, thank you. Like you exactly asked the question, like which maybe I can give a little bit few explanation on those part too. Actually, I belongs from the Nepal, and I did my bachelor and master both from the Nepal in the environmental background. In the Nepal, we have inadequate services, facilities in there due to our geographical situation and our human settlement as well. Like our human settlements, it belongs on the top of the hills, which is difficult to get to provide the overall facilities in there. Along with, we have a lack of the proper wastewater treatment facility, proper fecal sludge treatment facility. We are still suffering from those challenges. At the time of the ODF declaration, we just build the toilet and we forget about what will be the remaining challenges in there. For the open defecation free country to declare that also youth play the vital role in Nepal. Now, after constructing the toilet, now our Nepalese youth directly can go for the remaining other like sanitation and facilities like the containment, the treatment of the waste which is generated from the toilet, along with the other waste sector too. There is the one scope for the youth in there, like to maintain the flow of the total sanitation chain in there. And still, like the one good part from Nepal is Nepal has now focusing on the community-led total sanitation approaches. Now the own local government are taking the concern about how we can go for the safely managed sanitation. If you will see here are the lots of Nepalese mayors, who are the lead part of our local government. Those our respected mayors are also present in here. It also shows that they really wants to adopt some sanitation, safely sanitation services from our side also. So lots of the chain is remaining in there from the Nepal, in there, one of the developing country, along not only for the Nepal, from the Bangladesh also, from the remaining sanitation chain, to make the flow of those sanitation chains, they are in the every sector, for the innovation and to generate the new technology, for the research and to collect the fund, to formulate the projects, to execute and implement the project, even operational and maintenance overall phase. There are lots of scope for the youth people, and I also believe that youth can be a great learner, and they are the fast learner too. They can implement the new technology faster way. And while we are talking about the Sri Lanka, there is the centralized system is exist in there for the overall facility. There is the centralized system exists, and there is also not the problem of the population like as a Bangladesh. So and Sri Lanka itself a one tourist country, so they focused on the sanitation part to attract the tourists and to maintain the flow of their economic chain also. So in the rural part of the Sri Lanka, where there is not the centralized system is there, like the scattered population from the urban area, they are still facing the challenges for the sanitation. In overall, I can say like the South Asian part, whole the countries are facing the same challenges. Now we have a toilets, we have some infrastructure now to maintain the infrastructure, to make the smooth for the to maintain the smoothness of this infrastructure. Youth can be the great manpower for us. Not only can be, the youth can do that. And we have lots of success stories from the youth part also. As for the issue of the other environmental sector, like the climate change, other the pollution or other parts, in the sanitation and in the waste sector, youth can lead, and youth are the future in this sector.
Thank you, Ms. Melina. Yes, youth can lead, and youth need to be a bigger part of this sector. So now, coming back to the your experiences, I will now track my question to Ms. Raisa again. Which specific, because you are a researcher, which specific projects or fieldwork experiences of yours has shaped your understanding about the water sector? Because we want other young people to know more about what's in here.
Hey, Rafa, I think the first project that actually got me into WASH is going to be Jalkona. So even though the main reason for Jalkona was an academic research, what happened is that we had this part, an ideathon, where we had to identify and propose a solution to any WASH-related problems. And I remember thinking about all these massive scale changes that we could bring about, such as weather engineering this and that and a lot of things. But ultimately, when I was talking with someone who was very dear to me and from a low-income community, and I know that the community has one shared toilet for all women. So I remember talking to her, and she was telling me about a lot of problems, macro scale problems, and then one particular part stood out. So after it becomes dark, she doesn't go to the toilet at all. And the reason isn't that there is a lack of infrastructure or that the facilities aren't there, but more specifically, the road itself, it becomes so dark, you cannot see if there is a burglar there, a thief there, or someone who poses a threat to you. So that was the whole issue. It's such a small thing that you cannot go to the toilet just because it's dark. And I remember that made me think that how generating evidence before implementing a solution is necessary. And that's when I realized that research in sanitation is an imperative for all of us.
Thank you so much. It's very, very interesting idea or very interesting part you have addressed and you have worked with during your project with Jalkona. Now, because we were talking about women and women's struggles with toilets or accessing toilets when it's dark, I will ask my next question to Ms. Dina Afsana again. So you have also worked closely with women's challenges in accessing proper menstrual hygiene facilities. From your experiences, what are the key infrastructural gaps you think still exist in public sanitation spaces?
Okay, I can simply demonstrate this as a 4A because I think I got a lots of A's there. First of all, the accessibility, availability, and then affordability and awareness. Both in all cases, female either they have not the proper access to sanitation or MHM, not their product are affordable or they are not available enough for them, or there is a lackings of awareness. So that is, I think, something more to work with this. If we want to maintain or provide the proper MHM rights, then we have to sure then they could get that all accesses they needed. There is many more places I went as with my vending machine. As you know, I'm working with this, so I got there lots of there not a proper toilet in every places or in every schools, and besides there is no particular MHM platform or MHM facilities in every toilets in there for female also females. And if you want, there is such places, if you want, you have money with you, but you can't get access the proper menstruation products. That's a use thing. At least I have that right to get my products in front of or around myself. That is like another use things. And, and awareness is a big challenges that maybe you can't put in the directly to the infrastructural way, but this is another thing. This should address more vastly, because many female or school girls, I found like they have a lots of myths about MHM products. They thought only how they culturally behave, culturally they thought from their mom or their by them female others. So they are not they are actually rigid to go for a new thing or go for something which could help themselves. So awareness is much more important thing also. So if we can work only on this 4A, so I think this could be a sustainable way to a proper managing area. And so far I get some gist from this actually.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Dina. Thank you, ladies. And my last question is for Zarif. Because he's my colleague, I have had the experience of very closely seeing your work specifically with sanitation-related projects at WaterAid Bangladesh. So if you would like to tell today's youth on why they should join the sanitation sector and work with toilets or sanitation specifically, what would you say? And what is in store for them if they choose to come here?
Well, thank you, Rafa. So the story is kind of, you know what people say about sanitation, like it's like Wi-Fi. So when it's connected, you don't notice it's working or not, or you don't panic. But when it's not connected, you panic instantly. So coming to work for sanitation sector is something like that. So if you come to work in this sector, you get to know that how much we are lacking and how much we have to work. And the scope of works in this sector is huge. Because if you think about the slum people in our country, they just don't have enough resources to build toilets for themselves. And we have to follow some certain aesthetics to build safe toilets. Otherwise, it's going to affect all of us. If a slum beside my home connects his toilet line to the nearby water body, and I'm extracting water from that source, then it would be a complete blunder. It would not only cause health problems, but would also cause the safety and security of ourselves. The story of mine to come to work in the sanitation sector started with a training. It also conducted by WaterAid. It was about youth advocate on climate change, and I took that training. At that time, I didn't know about the severeness of that problem, to be honest, and I'm still working and still exploring the problems of this sector, because trust me when I'm saying this, that there is a lot of work to do, and we have come up with some solutions. I'm not saying there is not existing solutions, like citywide inclusive sanitation is a solution. There are many solutions we can follow, but the thing is we need to implement them, and we need to implement them effectively. We need to think about the policies. In Bangladesh, we have some wonderful policies, but when, let's face it, when there is the thing about implementation, I don't think the implementation is going so well. So if we dedicate ourselves in this sector and work in that particular area, or again, it's huge. Please come join us and explore by yourselves, and let's make a better Bangladesh, better world. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much, Zarif. Like you said, that there's a lot more to be done, and a lot of it needs to be done by today's youth. So to close today's session, I would now like to request Ms. Nayoka to summarize what we heard from our young set of panelists, and also her inspiring remarks on why youth should be more interested in working with water, sanitation and hygiene, or specifically with toilets.
Good morning. Thank you. I hope I'm clear. Okay. So I represent the Embassy of Sweden, the government of Sweden, and we have been a long-term partner to Bangladesh. And water and sanitation is a very central, very important part of our cooperation with Bangladesh, right? And there are many justifications for this. Now, I've been to a number of WASH meetings and conferences, governments, financiers, and all. This is the first time that we actually have a very prominent youth representation, like 40%. In the last WASH meeting I was in, and maybe Professor Tanvir can confirm this, there was one youth representative out of 50 participants. But here we have 40%. And I was wondering, is it because the title of the conference is toilets? It's so visible, it's something that we can easily relate to, it's practical, and it's something that we think of on a daily basis. So I commend the organizers of this conference for providing a space for this discussion where young people and their role is actually emphasized. Now, I'm supposed to inspire, but I got so inspired already just listening to everyone here. The film that was shown earlier summarized all the important elements on why and how youth can actually continue engaging in this sector, right? There is, you start with the awareness and knowledge, for example, about this. And I remember, because growing, I mean, you had this question about what made you start being concerned about this. And many of us will be affected in different ways. In my case, I started being concerned about my toilet when I was living in Stockholm, and my apartment was just overlooking the lake. And every morning I would look out of the lake and I could tell myself that lake is the source of my drinking water, but also the source of the water that runs through my toilet. And how is that possible? It's amazing, you know. I mean, I would happily pay a lot of taxes just to continue having that situation working, you know, having that system working. And here in Dhaka, I'm part of a group that is doing greening and all sorts of fun things around the lakes of Banani Gulshan. And already in that context, we talk a lot about what is missing. Why is it that even in the poshest part of the city, we are confronted by waste that is just blatantly overpowering us, our senses, making us, you know, feel like quite discouraged about even questioning, right? And so this is why it goes back to this awareness and knowledge, because that builds concern among young people, and that makes them also question where the responsibility for, you know, providing this super important, super essential service lies, right? Now, the responsibility is not just, oh, it's the government's fault. No. And we hear that all the time. People will be inactive because they just easily blame it on the government. But this is the beauty of this engagement of young people here, because we actually talk of responsibility from a wider space, a wider perspective. Now, here, when we were looking at the film, the film showed a quite systematic and very doable way of building this sense of responsibility and concern among both public and also the government. And this is where it is important to continue speaking in terms of a system, right? Because we can all come with small things, but for a government official who actually has to allocate very meager resources on a number of things, it will be difficult for him to actually think of what to prioritize. So this system thinking and approach to water and sanitation, inclusive sanitation, the CYs that this conference has been discussing about, this is so important to communicate so that these people who have responsibility over it would understand and see where their part falls into. Now, accountability is something that comes as we build a system that works, right? And all of us have some form of accountability to it. But the big question is, how do we sustain all these things, right? Now, sustainability, this is also where young people could have a lot of inputs, a lot of engagement in. It could come in the design of the different, solutions that's part of the system. So we have good examples here on toilet spaces that are designed well, so it makes sense that we maintain them. It could come with, having a reasonable type of service that people will actually pay for. Because I will actually, me and my government salary, I will happily pay for sanitation services because not having the service will affect me, will affect the health of my family. So I should actually pay, but it has to be a fair kind of service that I get in exchange for what I pay for. So these discussions will be continuous, and young people will always have a part in these kinds of discussions about financing and maintaining. And then, of course, a system thinking around this will also enable the government to anticipate what is needed to expand the service, because we live in cities that are growing so fast. We build let's say, a fecal sludge treatment plant that has the capacity to serve 50,000 people, but then we know that 5 years from now, the population will almost double. And so the perspective, this longer-term perspective has to be part of the discussion that we can, as young people and also concerned citizens, raise. Because it could be an issue of land, for example, for these facilities to be built on. It could be an issue of, having the most updated technology that has to be rolled out, for example. And then my last point has to do with the financing. Primarily because I represent a financing agency. And we had a high-level delegation just a few days ago where we talked about financing priorities of the government. Now, we are in this age where the development funding is shrinking. We will have to choose the most important infrastructure to invest in. And also that this infrastructure has to be climate-proof, because this is the context that marks Bangladesh, Everything that we build from now on has to be able to sustain climate changes, increasing disasters, etc. So I think young people with your knowledge from different disciplines, you will have a part in defining the kind of priorities being negotiated by your governments for larger scale financing, etc. And water sanitation is very central to that. So thank you to this for this space. I hope this space continues, and I hope that the young people who are here will continue to engage as a community of practice now, because you have so many experts here in the room that you can draw from and create, much more comprehensive solutions that will sustain a system for your cities.
We have already overshot the time. Apologies for that. We will probably now start the next plenary.